everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 5 of Bungo Stray Dogs. I can't believe that after this episode we will already be to the halfway point of season 1. How does that happen? But this series has been really, really fun so far. I absolutely adore Dazai. I love Kunikita. Atsushi, our precious cinnamon tiger roll, who must be protected at all costs. And then this crazy bunch of characters. We've had Anazaki and Akutagawa, and then this crazy woman that has the healing powers that may involve things other than healing. But I wanted to research Ryoru Hirotsu, who is one of our baddies from last episode. His ability, Falling Camellia, or Ochi Tsubaki. And he's very much like a Team Rocket. Him and his gaggle of Gin and the other one, they were like Team Rocket last episode. Is what they reminded me of. They came to do bad, and they just didn't succeed. But anyway, I researched his ability, and it's basically a tragic novel, and the theme of it depicts dark parts in the lives of citizens who live in a lower class society. So I find that very interesting because he's a leader of a mafia, so obviously their goal is to benefit themselves, but it makes me wonder about his character if he, came from nothing and worked his way up in the Port Mafia. And he's not the boss, he's just one of the commanders. Ichio, she seems like she's more of tied to the boss of this whole organization, which we've not become privy to, but I'm sure Dazai knows about that since he's an ex-Port Mafia member. We had that thrown at us in episode 3, so I'm curious when that's going to come back around. But I have a feeling that even though our ragtag group of underdogs in the defense agency were able to save the day and get away with it just being considered a raid and nobody was hurt, I have a feeling the Port Mafia is not going anywhere. There's still going to be a problem, and our guys are going to have to deal with it. So, but that's not the focus of this episode. This episode is Murder on D Street, and it is a very Sherlockian episode, which I have been excited from ever since we were introduced to Rampo's character. When Rampo looking like Sherlock Holmes, I was like, okay, this is set in a very European, England-like setting. It looks like London. We've got the Ferris wheel. I expect Sherlock things out of this detective agency. And so I'm finally glad that we're getting to see some form of that in this episode. I'm curious what Rampo's ability is. Very curious, considering that he's kind of a Sherlock-esque character. I'm really curious about that. But man, we didn't get a lot of Dazai last episode. He was kind of too busy trying to woo over the head waitress of the restaurant. Trying to get her to do the double suicide with him. He wasn't really in the episode. It was more Kunikita, which I appreciated because Kunikita is it's kind of like good cop, bad cop. Dazai is like the good cop and Kunikita is the bad cop. And so I appreciate we got more of that. But man, Atsushi, buddy, you've had it rough, but he just needs a hug. Like a hug really bad, because he basically has PTSD. He keeps going back to this orphanage deal, and it's not been a good experience, and he just can't seem to get away from it. So I'm curious to know what this episode holds in store for us, if that's going to further that development or what it's going to do. But I'm having fun with this series. I hope y'all are too. I hope y'all are enjoying the reactions. And yes, we are going to start episode 5 of Bungo Stray Dogs, Murder on D Street. I'm real excited, y'all. I can't wait to see what Sherlockian adventures we have in this episode, but we're going to find out here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, friends. Okay. I'm so excited. Kunikita and Akutagawa. I'm so excited next episode. That's going to be so cool. And it'll be the mid-season. So, yeah, this episode kind of came out of nowhere at the end there. Because it's interesting. Rampo is such an interesting character because he has no common sense. He has no clue where directions are. He doesn't know how to get around anywhere or do anything basic, like buy a train ticket or anything like that. But he's kind of a savant in that the overarching big broad things, he's like, I don't have time for that. But the tiny, intricate details that have to do with the case and the leads, like he was so intuitive in his deductions on those. And at first you think it is the ability, but then to find out that he doesn't have an ability, he's not gifted. He just is really good at deduction. He's just like a real life Sherlock Holmes. There's no magic, there's no illusions. He's very intuitive and has a good sense for understanding the situation, picking apart those tiny details. He's arrogant as all get out, but ah, but everybody respects him because of his ability, despite the fact that he's not gifted. Like the fact that he has this amazing talent, and they respect him for it. And they just kind of let him go, like he didn't have to clean up because they were like, no, it's fine, we can do it. That's so interesting. I almost wondered if his character maybe was on a spectrum with anything like that. Just the way that he acted and his social cues and everything, it made me wonder if his character was maybe within a spectrum. But I love how just he instantly like narrowed in on the situation, and Dazai could to an extent. Especially when it involved the port mafia, because Dazai would know how that works. He would understand how that all functions. But Atsushi getting to see that gifts and abilities aren't exactly what make you a valuable member of the agency. It's your ability to do something well. So it doesn't have to be an ability that gets you in. I mean, Rampo has one of the most powerful talents of the entire group as far as being an agency member goes, and he's not even gifted. So, and I could definitely see why the agency would want to keep Rampo around, because with that kind of ability and talent, you don't want that falling into the wrong hands, right? And the glasses, like he keeps his eyes closed most of the time, but he has those big green eyes. Like, how very interesting. This episode, it seemed very cut and dry at first, and then once we got into the latter part of it, and then once Dazai reveals that he's not gifted at all, I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. And I like that they're introducing that. So I'll have to look up Ultra Deduction next week for the next episode and talk about Rampo's ability. But, oh man, next episode we're just right back in the thick of it. Kunikita going after a lady. Akutagawa's there. The animation in the preview looked really good. So I'm like, And I just love that Dazai just sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. I love all the interactions between Dazai and Atsushi. Atsushi feels like a little brother to Dazai. He's like the little adopted brother that Dazai found, and he's like, I'm going to claim you. You're my brother now. And I just love that. I think that's so cool, the relationship that these two have. But, oh man, guys. It just, I like that we're getting to the idea that people who do not necessarily have an ability can still be not only valuable to the group, but can have and play a major part in the story. Because that's what I was wondering, because it's kind of like, some of you have commented in the episodes that this is kind of like the Uno reverse card of My Hero Academia. Because in My Hero Academia, everyone has quirks and only a few don't. And the few that don't really play a big part in the story, with the exception of Midoriya. But Midoriya gets a quirk through circumstance. But here it's the opposite of that. Most people don't have a gift, but the ones that do, it kind of puts them a peg above everyone else. But Rampo here shows that that's not exactly the case, that we as the audience should not be lured into this false sense of everyone that has a gift is the gifted people are the only ones we have to fear. Because Rampo proves that point wrong. He's like, no, I don't have a gift, but I'm still extremely valuable, and I'm probably one of the most important members of this team in terms of what our business is. So I like that Rampo is here to remind the audience of that now, saying, look, there's probably going to be other characters in this series that don't have gifts that are equally as important. And I like that a lot. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But yeah, this episode was good, and in the last 5 minutes, it just like elevated itself, and I was like, okay, cool, awesome. So yeah, Rampo. I'm curious which character we're going to get a little more backstory on next. It looks like next episode's more Kunikita focused, which I really liked Kunikita in the last episode, and I love him and Dazai's interactions, so that has me excited. I'm not sure how his gift is going to work against Octagawa. That's going to be interesting. So, no spoilers, please, but I'm real curious of how that's going to go down next episode. So, we shall see, I guess. But in the meantime, y'all, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. This was a great episode, and it has me super excited for the mid-season finale. The mid-season of season 1 of Bungo Stray Dogs. It's gonna be good. I'm excited. So, in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with a little bit of research on Rampo and some more Bungo Stray Dogs. Bye.